Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. We're going to talk about Index Card RPG. We're going to talk about Marvel. We're going to talk about DC. And we're going to talk about the power of miniatures. All right, so I am starting an Index Card RPG, Marvel DC crossed world. So it's a tabletop role playing. It's a campaign, all right, and it is mixing Marvel and DC characters together in the same world. So the player characters are playing a Marvel or a DC hero, right? Now, I'm super excited about this game, and one of the reasons why I'm really excited about it is miniatures. So I'm incredibly blessed. I really have a robust group of friends, and one of the things that happens is when you have friends, a lot of times they'll have expertises and they'll have experiences that are just really alien to you, right? So I have this one friend, and I actually have two friends, actually, now that I think about it. And they have been hardcore HeroClix, Marvel DC tabletop gamers. So if you're not aware, HeroClix is a tactical combat game played with Marvel and DC miniatures, right? So I have these two friends who were seriously into this, and they were into multiple leagues locally, and they played for literally a decade, right? And one of the things that would happen is they would get collections. So what would happen is they were always into the game, and they never stopped being into the game. And what would happen is people would come in, they'd spend hundreds of dollars, and then they would get frustrated with the game because I think the HeroClix miniatures are amazing. The HeroClix game rules are absolutely horrific. They're way overcomplicated, incredibly slow, and non-engaging, right, for most players. So people would come in, get excited about the miniatures, get excited about the colors, get excited about, the cool aspects of the miniatures, and then just get completely frustrated with the game. So what would happen is then they would bow out, right? And when these people would bow out, they would keep like half their collection, and they would just turn over half their collection to my friends for nothing, right? Because the HeroClix, a lot of them really didn't. They were constantly coming out with new HeroClix, and they just didn't hold their value well, right? You could pick them up for close to nothing nowadays, right? And the reality is, so they got literally huge collections. I'm not kidding. My friends had easily between 2,500 and 5,000 miniatures each, right? And what I would do is I would play with them, and I would buy a few. But one of the things they would do is they would give me their handoffs, right? And so over the years, I would go to different tournaments, and I was connected to these people who had these huge collections, and I got the overflow from their collections because they had so much they literally didn't have space for them, right? So what I did is I ended up with about 1,000 HeroClix, and I sold off about 700 of those. And today, after a decade, I have an incredible 300-piece miniature set that is the very best you can get from HeroClix and on Marvel and DC, from the really good sculpts, really, really compelling, cool characters, whole teams, like entire X-Men teams, entire Batman family, entire Avengers, right? And these are just the extras of my friends, right? Now, here's the thing. When both those players are playing in my Marvel DC tabletop role-playing game. Now, the vast majority of HeroClix has not done well over the last few years. And so they have these huge collections that are just sitting in boxes at their house, and they rarely play anymore, right? But I'm really excited at bringing these miniatures to the table because both of them will be like, I remember when I gave that to you in King of Prussia. I remember when I gave that to you in Holmes, PA. I remember, and it's just like, and also the other thing is I've traded with other people I've met, right? So there's a few surprises in my collection. And so one of the things is when I put those minis down, those minis are not just representing Spider-Man and Batman and Superman and Catwoman and Penguin and just like Green Lantern and Deadpool, and it's so voluminous, right? And Bishop and Forge, and Rogue, and it's not just the stories of the characters that's dropping. It's the story of our friendship over a decade that's dropping, and So miniatures are really powerful. So with this said, right, and I'm super excited to get these miniatures to the table and just have this shared IRL experience of, you know, remembering these minis and where they came from and where they were gifted, and some surprises that I got. I think I might have a few that they don't have, you know, and I'm just really excited to see their faces and to see their excitement about the minis, you know, again, and seeing the minis used in a different way, not in a combat game, a tactical combat board game style thing, but in a really immersive narrative, you know, function, right? I'm really excited about that. But as I think about it, I just had a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign end, and as I'm looking back on it, I played Beryl, a turtle wizard folk hero, and I love that character. But when he really came to life for me was when one of my players went to an FLGS and just spent $5 to get me this beautiful set of 2 minis for this turtle that just really brought the character to life. And I still have that, and that mini is just so special to me because it was, you know, it was the player saying, it's the middle of the week, the game's 3 days away, but I was thinking about you, and here's, you know, the price of a Starbucks coffee, and this is me gifting you this, right? And it's just really special, and it's just a special memory. So one of the things I really want to encourage you is get out this week, right? And go get a mini, not for yourself, but for somebody else at your table, right? And it might be their player character, giving them just another different mini that they can use, so they have different minis to represent their, you know, player characters don't wear the same outfits every day. They might, you know, so having more than one mini to represent your character is really fun. I've definitely done that. Another thing is, think about their characters. Like, do they have, do they frequently cast summon elemental? You can actually get them the elemental figs, right? Do they have a riding? Do they have an animal companion? You can get them the fig for the animal companion, right? Do they have a follower, right? Or can you even talk to your DM and say, I want to buy this fig for this. I got this fig. Can I make this fig? Can I gift this fig to them and say, this is your new follower, and it's going to go under the sidekick rules from the Essentials kit, right? So there's lots of ways to just, you know, it's $5. It's literally the price of a cup of coffee. But it's a really special way that we can be kind and show kindness and attention, and just really be, you know, build a nice bond for such a small cost between players. So I really encourage you to use the power of miniatures to make your game better, make your relationships better with the people who you're gaming with. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium. And actually, I'll ask, do any of you have any really special miniature moments that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear it. Take care.